Welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, the show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs use human design to shift from hustle to flow without sacrificing results. Come here to become an unshakable human and build an unshakable business according to your human design. I'm your host, Nicole. Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design, everybody. I'm your host, Nicole, and we are going to have a little conversation, just you and me, today about quantum leaps. What are the tools do you need in order to create one in your life, create one in your business? This is a term that I like to revisit on this show every year or so. Once or twice a year, I like to dive into this because it's a term that we hear thrown around a lot, and I think it's misunderstood. And I like to dissect it and go into really what having a quantum leap is and what it's not. So that's what we're going to break down in this show. I'm going to take you through what is a quantum leap, what is not a quantum leap, what's the difference between the two, what it takes to actually create one, more importantly, what it takes to sustain one, and how human design can be a really indispensable tool in creating a quantum leap. Like, how do we use that? Because I think a lot of people teach this whole energy thing. We teach human design as giving ways to make more money and to expand and a lot of these energetic practices. And I want to clear up exactly how I see human design playing a role, what you can really expect from it, because I like to bring this stuff down to earth for you, make it practical. But also, I want to call out any place where there seems to be hyperbole. Now, of course, if you're trusting in the universe and you are being more magnetic through your human design, you're going to get more of the things that you want. But there's other pieces to it too. So we're going to take you through actually a quantum leap I had, or one that could have been seen as a quantum leap, and how I couldn't hold it, and then how I've made a quantum leap now that actually maybe doesn't look as much like the one that did before. So I'm going to talk to you about the differences between having a big jump in life where something feels like it's going really well and then not being able to hold it. Maybe you've had that happen to you before, where you've had a really great result, but then you ended up right back where you started. I'm going to talk you through a little bit about how that happened to me. And I'm going to talk to you about how I've changed that and what I've shifted now to have grown my business, where we have increased our business by almost 50% this year, and how I'm able to hold that and the work that I did that really started to make that a reality for me. So first of all, I want to call out, we have my Authority Accelerator Masterclass that is coming up on November 11th. It is my 5-day free masterclass where I take you through my entire business by design framework. I take you through, I call it a soul strategy framework, because it is soul meets strategy, these two pieces that you need, energy and business. And I'm going to break down how I do that and how I bring energy and business together in a sustainable way so that you can have sustainable success in your business where things feel good, you're working in flow, you're living with your purpose, but you're also creating a profitable business from that place, and you're becoming an authority in your space. And that's how we do that. You become an authority to yourself, you become an authority to others, and then you are able to monetize that authority. And I'm going to take you through all of that in the Authority Accelerator Masterclass. All you have to do to register is go to nicolelano.com/masterclass. Or DM me the word masterclass on Instagram. I'm at Nicole Official, and we'll register you right there in the DMs. Of course, all of this will be linked up in the show notes as always, but those are the links there for you if you want to just type them into your phone right now. Okay, so let's dive into this episode about quantum leaps. First of all, what is a quantum leap? Quantum leap in general, I think the way that people see it is it's skipping steps. It's this feeling like you went from having a problem, and then one day it was solved. It can be a problem of, I've been trying to make $1 million and then finally you make $1 million. But it also could be, I was in debt and I was always in these patterns with this issue that I was having with debt, with maybe hitting an income ceiling, any of these things. And maybe it could be love, could be anything. But I was having this problem where I was stuck in this pattern and then suddenly one day I was out of it. That's how it seems, where you can jump and seem to skip or leap over what would feel like the next step and the next step and the next step. Because we think we need to, like, if I'm making $100,000, then next year will be $120,000, and then it'll be $130,000, and then $150,000, or it feels like it has to be these incremental changes. But when you can go from, well, I was making 100,000 and now I'm making 200,000, that can feel like a quantum leap. Or I went from 100 to 500 would certainly feel like a quantum leap, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about here. Really big jumps in not having what you want or being stuck at a certain level and then jumping to this, what feels like maybe the next level or 2 levels beyond that, right? Or more. It looks instantaneous. But what's actually really happening underneath a quantum leap is actually a very gradual thing. It appears like nothing is happening, and then boom, something shifts. What you're seeing is a shift in identity. It's a shift in energy, and it's a shift in the action aligned with that identity. So let me explain a little bit about what that means. So a lot of times with quantum leaps, or with just where we are energetically, we get what we get because it's what we are identifying as. It's what we have decided is our story. It's what we are energetically connected to. And usually what happens, whatever we are energetically connected to, our actions that we take will be in alignment with whatever we're connected to. So let me give you a little example. If you feel like you are someone who struggles with, or I'll never be able to make more than this, it's always going to be hard. This is where limiting beliefs come in. And this is why they're so important, because they become what we are energetically attaching ourselves to. The problem that we have, the situation that we are in, our reality. Now, reality exists. I'm not someone who's like, this is totally the matrix, and you just have to pretend like the bills aren't coming in. We don't put our head in the sand, because that's another way that is just disassociating from reality, and we don't want to do that. But can you not get wrapped up in it? And that's when you start to break that connection between having a really strong reality, have a really strong hold on you, and energetically shifting. So if you have a belief that making $300,000 in a year is going to be a lot of work, that it's going to take a lot of your energy, that it's going to take you selling a bunch of different things. You have all of these stories about what you will need to do and what it will mean for you to have that. And maybe there's something inside of you that says, I don't want to work that much. I'm really scared of putting in all of that effort. What if it doesn't work? Now that story starts to get into your energy. And now you start to not work as much. You might find it hard to do the work that you're trying to do. You might find that you are unconsciously creating obstacles in your life that can look like other things that you have to do. Family issues, problems with your kids at school. All of these outside things that feel very real can start to be the self-fulfilling prophecy of, see, I told you we didn't have enough time to have a bigger business. So that's how we can get stuck. And that's how the quantum leap will work when you stop subscribing to that. When the energy shifts and you just show up and you keep showing up in alignment with what you want, rather than thinking about the story that you have told yourself is true, when you start to write a new story and shift your identity to align with that new story. Let me give you an example. So a few years ago, when I was starting, I was struggling for a long time. And I would do a launch and make like $5,000 or $10,000 in a launch. And it was a lot of work. And I was running ads and I was doing all of these things that were costing money. So the profit really wasn't there. And there was definitely a story where I was like, I don't know if this is going to work for me. This might not work. I don't know if I have the stomach for this. I don't see how it can work. Now that story started to plague my results, right? Then something new came into my experience. I was presented with a program that a friend had a lot of success with, and a couple of other people I knew had have a lot of success with, and I joined it. And there was something in me that said, this is going to be it. I chose that. I said, this is going to be it. And you've probably heard me say this mantra on here before. I said, I will either get the result that I want or the lesson that I need. And I let all of the other stories about it was going to be hard. It's going to be all of the other stories that were keeping me in my old reality. I really just let them go. And the way that I let them go was I invested in something that said, this is going to work for you. And I believed it so wholeheartedly that there was no new story saying, but what if, but what if, but what if. I was just like, this is going to work. And I showed up like, this is going to work. And I did the work. And in about 3 to 4 months, I made like $100,000. It was life-changing for me. But here's the thing. I couldn't hold it. My identity hadn't shifted. all of those thoughts, once the money came in, all of those old thoughts, all of those old identities came back into play and took me right back to where I was. All those same problems came back. They just came back in a new way. And then I sat there and I thought, I'm a failure. My identity wasn't there. I hadn't upgraded myself. I had upgraded my strategy. And this is where you need both. Because then I did a bunch of energetic work, but my strategy was not there after that. I was reworking things. And that's what I've been doing for the last few years. I have been upgrading identity, upgrading my energy, upgrading my authority in myself, changing my relationship to myself through human designs. Human design has given me that way of seeing myself differently, the way of seeing my problems differently. It actually made me less attached to them because I've just looked at them like low frequency of something that exists in me that's also a gift. I didn't feel attached to them. I didn't feel shamed by them. Changed the way I started to work with them. But then I had new things to sell and I had new message to get out there. So I had to rebuild my strategy as well in order to be able to use the strategy in a way that was going to work and work consistently. And I had to upgrade my energy and upgrade my identity of how I saw myself. I had to go, and that's the EFT tapping work that I do and the energy work that I do of releasing the attachments we have to these old ways of being, these old emotions that are stuck in us, these old attachments to shame, and using human design to lift me up. So what I have shifted into now is someone who can work the strategy, and my energy can hold the leap. And now I can grow and grow and grow. And it looks like something that changed overnight. It looks like something either that I've been doing it forever, or to me, I know all of the work I've been doing behind the scenes that made this year possible. I know all of the upgrading that I have been doing and that centering that I have been working on so diligently that has allowed me to stay the course with the work that I've been doing, to not get shiny object syndrome, to choose what I do wisely, to work less and make more, because I didn't have a story about having to work more in order to make more. I have been progressing internally while I built the strategy to progress externally, because you need both. So let me break down the tools and how I use them. I've already kind of touched on some of them here, but let me break them down. There are like 3 buckets, but like 5 if you break them all out into pieces. So in order to sustain a quantum leap, you need energy and you need strategy. It isn't one or the other. Now, you might have one of those more in place than the other. You might be really good in the energy space where you're already like 80% there. There's usually still a little bit more. Even if we've done energy work, when you start to apply the strategy, you start to notice some of the other things come up. But if you've already done the work, you're already more than halfway there. But you might be a little bit further in the energy category. And some people are further in the strategy category where maybe they've gone really hard at strategy, but that energetic part, they still have that belief that they have to work hard. So they're burning out, they are overworking, they are feeling like if they slow down, they will stop. And that's an imbalance there between the strategy and the energetic side of things. So here's how you break it down when we talk about energy and strategy. The energetic side, I use human design, I use EFT. These are my 2 main tools. One is for that inside job. Human design success is an inside job. It is about coming back to your own authority. It's coming back to your own truth. It's what I call becoming unshakable, because that's the deconditioning process. And really what we're doing there is we are grounding you in actual worthiness, your own actual worthiness, not worthiness because you've achieved this or because of this, because this is a huge problem that so many people have, is we've attached our worthiness to other things, to the labels that we carry, to the titles that we either proudly wear and they become our identity in the outside world, but to actually come back to your own true self and feel worthy just for being you, and to let go of all of the things, because there's so often we're thinking we need to add stuff, but most of the time we have to subtract. We have to let go of a lot. And human design brings you back to say, like, this is my way. This is my way. This is who I am. And this is good enough just because it's me. It's becoming unshakable in your own body, in your own energy, in yourself. I'm awesome because I'm me and because I was put here for a reason. And now I know that reason and nothing's going to get in the way of it. So I'm honestly less bothered by all of the other reality things, circumstantial things that are coming at me. Okay? So that's the first step. The second step is building a personal brand around your genius. Really diving in and getting super niched down on your expertise, what you were born to do, your purpose, and who you're here to help. Who are you here to speak to, and what is your perspective on the world? I call it your genius brand. That is what gives you momentum and gives you conviction in what you are saying. I think people usually feel like I'm pretty convicted in what I'm saying. I really believe what I'm talking about. I really feel strongly about it because I've seen it work in myself and so many other people. But that's where it comes from. It's also the fact that I know this is what I'm here to do. I'm here to talk to you guys about this. I'm here to shift people into their way and let go of all of the other ways that they've been told they've got to live in order for it to be right with everybody else. It matters to be right with you. And that will bring you success. When you're right with you, the byproduct is success because people want to be around that. The right people for you will be attracted to that. And I prove that out every single day. So that's the second piece. The third piece is you do need a message. You do need, if you're building a business and you want to have a quantum leap in your business, you do need to have a message. You do need to know how you help people. It does not need to be a rigid message, but it does need to be something where you understand how you help and who you help and why they should pay you. Because when someone asks you what you do, you should be able to tell them in a way that's making them really curious about whether you could solve the problem for them. Not just tell them, oh, I do human design. People are like, well, it's human design. But if I tell people that I help people with all the things that I do, it's not just human design. But if I tell people that I notice that a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs, when I ask them what they do, they can't tell me, and they can't tell me succinctly, and they lose me really quickly. And they do this beautiful work. So my mission is to help them really ground into what their actual gift is, not just the certification that they have, and build a podcast and a message and a business around that genius and broadcast it to the world and really stand in their own authority. So that person, if they're having a problem articulating what they do, they start saying, I need that, I need that, I need that. Help me, help me, help me. It changes the way that you present yourself. It becomes your brand. And you start to become a living, breathing, walking version of your message where you don't have to sell all the time. You're not hard pitching people. They're just self-selecting and saying, I think you can help me. Oh, I have that problem. If you solve it, then maybe you could solve it for me. That's what we want people doing. And then you have to create pathways for people to buy from you. If you want to have a quantum leap that involves money, you need to have ways for money to come into your world. Sure, you can be trying to connect to winning the lottery, but most of us will have a hard time holding the energy of I won the lottery and feeling like we actually won it. But if you create pathways, if you create funnels for people to buy from you off of the last piece, which is your authority platform, a way for you to be seen, to deliver your magnetic message, and to build raving fans. If you have that put together, like I have this podcast, where we get new listeners every day, we get new people coming into our world, they're self-selecting, they're coming onto our email list, they're going through our funnels, they're coming to our masterclasses, and they're buying from me when I sleep. That's because it's been built. Now, because that's been built, the energy part becomes easier for me because I can believe that the structures that I've built, the sales system that I've built will work. And that allows me to take off time when I need to. That allows me to go on vacation when I want to. That allows me to have space in my life. So I no longer have that belief that it's got to be harder. I have to work harder. I have to work smarter. And I have the patience and the grounded energy to actually stay with something long enough to wait out my emotional wave and not make hasty decisions and make the right moves for me so that I'm preparing for my next quantum leap every moment of every single day. And it's an energetic practice paired with strategy. So if you're interested in seeing how you could pair energetic practice, human design, and strategy together so that you can have a sustainable business according to your human design where you're living your purpose and becoming an authority in that industry, in that realm of your purpose, and you want to know how to monetize it, join the Authority Accelerator Masterclass because that's exactly what I'm going to take you through. All of these pieces, all of these 5 steps to having your quantum leap, building a business around your design. That's what we're taking you through in the Authority Accelerator. All you have to do to register is go to NicoleLano.com/masterclass. We will register you on the website or go to my Instagram. I'm at Nicole Lano Official. DM me the word masterclass, just that word, please, so that the bot goes off. And we'll register you right there in the DMs. All of it's linked up in the show notes. You can drop down there if you need the links. But otherwise, I hope to see you there. It is my favorite thing that I get to do outside of this podcast and coaching people. I love this masterclass. People get so much value from it. I love all of the feedback that we get from it. It warms my heart every single time. So it's definitely something that you should take advantage of because it's one of the only free things that I do besides this show. So you should join us and we get to be in each other's energy and you get to work with me live for 5 days. It's really, really fun. So thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you in the masterclass. I appreciate you. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everybody. We'll see you next time. If you love this episode and you're a fan of the show, please show us the love on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to the show and leave us a review. And if you'd like to connect with other entrepreneurs on their human design journey, join our free Facebook community, Human Design for Entrepreneurs. Go to nicolelano.me/podcast links to join the group, book a human design reading with me, or access our free human design resources. We'll see you there.